Good morning, traders. This is John Jacobs here for RMDTRADER. This week we are looking at an exciting opportunity on the GBPUSD, a head and shoulders breakout. So please stay tuned while I let the disclaimers roll, and I'll see you in a few moments. As usual, starting with the US dollar to the South African rand. Following our rejection 2 weeks ago from this 16 Rand 50 level, we can see that price has made quite a move higher and only finding resistance on this 50% retrace level. We are currently forming what would appear to be a rising wedge, meaning that should price reject the 50 or even the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement levels, we could see some further strength. But in the short term, I think it's more likely that we'll see the levels of 1760 or let's just say 1750 to 1760 be retested. So this will coincide with this 50% retrace area again, as well as the top part of our wedge and our 200 SMA on the 4-hour time frame. We could also perhaps see a slightly higher retest of what is both the monthly pivot level as well as the 61.8 retracement area around 17 Rand 80. If that were to hold, we could perhaps either see further strength on the Rand side, or if we break higher, we will see the levels of 18 Rand 20 being retested. So just looking at the price, we can see there are some bullish divergence of the price making a lower high on closes, but yet the RSI, the short time RSI, is not making those higher, let's call it lows. So there is some divergence. So that's why I'm saying I'm expecting a slight move up early in the week, followed perhaps by a slight push even higher, and from there we'll either see a further strength, bringing price back down, or breaking higher. Now looking at the EURUSD, and perhaps just before we start, let's just have a look at the economic calendar for the week that is coming. We can see that the week is actually exceptionally quiet compared to other weeks that we've covered. So not a lot that's really happening in terms of events. So we can see there's 3 events that might have an impact on the EURUSD forex pair, but I suspect that wouldn't be so major. Just looking back at the charts, we can see that price has rejected the 100 SMA on the 4-hour, and this will allow us to see price perhaps move lower to this 50% retracement area of the Fibonacci. So that will bring us to 1.114, and then perhaps the next stop would be the level around the 200 SMA on the 4-hour. I think we will likely meet that up around the 1.110 level. So that would be around this area over here. Once this has been successfully retested, I believe I'm just quickly going to add the projected pivots for the week. We can see that will also coincide with our weekly S2 pivot, with the weekly S3 pivot just slightly below that as well. So this will definitely be an area of strong support should price move lower, and I'm quite sure that the 200 SMA on the 4-hour will offer sufficient support. Should price be rejected from this area, we will see price likely move back up higher towards this 1.129 area, and you'll also notice that this is also forming what appears to be like a falling wedge formation on price. So I'm just going to draw that in quickly. So you can see, should price make a lower low here, it's very likely the price will bounce back up, even perhaps slightly down again. But should this break higher, we will very soon see this levels, the previous Fibonacci retracement areas to retest it. That would be 1.128, and even perhaps, and I'm not sure this will happen in this week, but we might even see a high. But yeah, just definitely keep an eye out for those pivot levels, especially on the weekly, as those are the ones that will likely be retested. Looking now at the GBP or British pound to the USD. Starting off with the daily time frame, we can see that there was a very clear rejection of this daily 200 SMA area, and the breakout into this new target area has now clearly failed. And we can see that looking at price, we have now found some support right on this monthly pivot area. And I'm just going to go to the 4-hour time frame. I'm going to hide the pivots for now. And I just want to show something that is now quite obvious is this head and shoulders that has formed right on this this area of support, with the monthly pivot being at the level we are at currently. I will even add some additional support lines here just to make that pivot area clear. Okay, there we are. So we are at a very crucial area at this moment. We even saw a brief retest of this neckline break on the GBPUSD. So just projecting our targets and looking at the high of that head and shoulders to the neckline, and then projecting that lower to give us our targets. We can see that will bring us to this 1.21 area, and just enabling our projected pivots for the week. We can see that could very likely bring us towards our S2 weekly pivot level at 1.211. So that would be a very possible targets for the week. Should price perhaps find some support, it could perhaps be on the levels of 1.222, and then of course the target level at the 1.211 level. Should price manage to break above the neckline again, the weekly pivot is sitting at 1.246. So this area will often offer an area of additional resistance. And also just looking at our support, we will notice that this will also be an area where price previously retested it, being previous area support and now an area of resistance. So this now definitely becoming an area of resistance, with price more likely to break lower towards these two levels. Having a look now at the Australian dollar to the USD. The breakout area from this larger pattern that we have seen was successful, with price moving higher, and currently we are seeing price consolidating. And just looking at what price is doing, we can see there is some form of additional consolidation now happening from this breakout area. We are currently sitting right on our, very close to at least our projected pivot level for the week. And there has been what appears to be a rejection of this 100 SMA on the 4-hour, meaning that should price move lower, we could look to see price finding some additional support here on the 61.8 retracement area, as we were just short of that with our price movements last week, only reaching the 50% retracement area. So yeah, very likely actually, just looking at price now, that it will go lower to retest the 61.8 area, and that will also mean by that time the 200 SMA on the 4-hour time frame will also probably meet up with this weekly pivot level, all converging on the 0.674-ish level, meaning this should offer strong support. If price were to move higher again from this area, the first area of resistance would then be our weekly pivot level at 0.685 or 0.6859. And then should price manage to break above this consolidation area, our targets would firstly be our weekly R1 pivot level at 0.694, followed by the previous highs at 0.703. Moving on to the US 500 or S&P 500 chart, starting on the daily time frame, we can see that price has moved right into our monthly pivot area in the beginning of last week, and found some support right on that monthly pivot area, and that will also coincide with a retracement of the initial move, bringing us to the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement area, also coinciding with the what will that be? Just quickly have a look. I see there's a little green line right there on the area where we found some support. But actually just looking at the blue line, also on that level, that would be right on our 100-day SMA moving average. So just leaving that there and moving over to the 4-hour time frame. Just getting a better view. There you can also more clearly see the price price moving right into that 61.8 retracement area, and then also forming that very lovely morning star reversal on the 200 SMA on the 4-hour time frame. Currently, we are looking at price likely. Let's just enable our projected pivots for the week. We can see that price very likely at this stage consolidating from last weekend, and now appears to be breaking slightly lower and finding some support on what I believe would be that monthly pivot level that we saw on the daily time frame. And that will also then converge again with the 200 SMA on the 4-hour. So that will mean that our support is currently on this 3,023 level, and I believe that we could also see price move higher towards our weekly S1 levels should that price movement find some support, and we reverse. We should be able to find some resistance in this 3,180 to 3,000. Let's just say 3,180 to 3,200 levels, because that will take us back to the previous highs from, when was that? Probably 3 weeks ago, or not even 2 weeks ago. So that would be the range to look out for this week, and just be aware of this level again, this 2,950 level, as that should be a strong area of support. And once this consolidation breaks, I believe the move would be quite aggressive to either of those resistance or support levels. Briefly looking at Brent crude oil, we see that our elusive gap target still remains unclosed, with the $35 level being our target, and that being the target that I think a lot of traders are looking out for, as that would close the gap that we had on the 6th of March. Price does remain bullish. We can see that we are currently bouncing from this 100 SMA level as well as the 20 SMA level, meaning even in the short-term price is also seeing some bullish price action, meaning that our target is definitely still in the order of the day, and even possible is that extended target that we also mentioned in our market overview video last week, with the 200 SMA on the daily being that stretch target. And just also keeping in mind that we do have this double bottom structure that has formed, with price even coming in to retest that under 50 SMA on the daily. So just projecting that upwards, we can see that we have quite a high target. But yeah, just to stay on the conservative side, I'll be sure to look out for that 200 SMA level around the $50 area as a stretch target. Just quickly moving to the 4-hour chart, get a closer view of what's happening, and also can enable our projected pivots for the week to come. We can see that our weekly pivot level are right on the $40, let's just say $40.70 area, and that will also converge with all these other short-term moving averages. So look out for this area as the immediate area of support, and then our areas of resistance would then be our S1 weekly pivot area, or the weekly R1, and then the gap target there at 45. So those will likely be the targets in the near term for the week, with the immediate areas of support being weekly pivot as well as this 100 SMA. Just looking below that for lower areas of support, we can see that there is still support on the S1, and even strong support on this 200 SMA on the 4-hour. Well, that being dynamic, but I believe that will be around this 36 to 36.50 area. Now looking at gold. Gold finally seems to have managed the breakout that we have been waiting for from this consolidation area. Although we are not yet quite above this, well, let's call it the 1742 area that we have struggled to break through previously. Although just looking at the nature of this last consolidation and then the quite aggressive move from this structure, I believe that we should have sufficient momentum to finally break through this area. And just taking into account that should price now be rejected from this area, we will very soon find support at this 1720 area, as that is the area of immediate support, converging on the 200 SMA on the 4 hour, the 100 SMA on the 4 hour, as well as this diagonal area of support. So a very, very strong area of support right on the 1720 level. And should that be retested, I believe price would make another attempt at this level. And then should that finally break, we can just quickly enable our projected weekly pivots. We can see that price will likely move higher to that 1750 area, and then finally our 1770 area. That is the weekly R2, and also I believe our monthly R1 area of resistance. So just quickly enabling our monthly pivots, we can see that exactly coincides with the monthly R1 pivot level. So sorry, just quickly hiding that again. So yeah, that would be our targets for gold. So look out for the retest of 1720, or perhaps we don't even make it that low and we find support on our 1730 area. So just looking at the tops of these candles from last week, we can see that that is actually a previous area of resistance and will likely be an area of support for this week. And also taking into account that is also the area of our weekly pivot level. So it's likely that price do not even make it lower than 1750 before moving higher towards these 175, or let's just say 1760 and then the 1770 levels. So that is gold for the week. Concluding this week's market overview, we are looking again at Bitcoin. As mentioned on our market overview video last week, we mentioned this 9,100 area being the area of support to look out for. And we can see that we indeed did retest that area with another lovely Morningstar reversal happening right across that area. And we are currently consolidating again. Bitcoin seeing a lot of consolidation lately. And I believe that this could just point towards a very aggressive move in the near to medium term future. Just keeping in mind that areas of support will remain at this 9,100 level. And should price manage to break higher, we can see we are making slightly lower highs on our price, with the MFI actually making higher highs. So not necessarily clear in terms of divergence in this consolidation, but it's likely that should price manage to break this bull flag, since it's a channel moving higher with a possible break up. Should price manage to break that level, our first area of resistance would be the highs from last week at the 9,600 level, and then the next level of resistance will be around the 9,840 level. That will be the highs from the week before that, and also enabling our projected pivots for the week. We will see that these levels also closely coincides with those previous areas of previous highs and lows. So yeah, look out for the 9,600 level, and then of course this area of 9,840 being our previous highs. And should that be able to break up as well, we could even see the previous highs being tested at 10,200. So Bitcoin really just moving within its previous areas of support and resistance, and we'll probably see a larger break once one of these higher or previous highs or lows are taken out. Well, that concludes our market overview for the week. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please remember to do so. Also, remember to hit the notification button to be reminded as soon as our videos go live every Monday morning at 7 o'clock sharp. Also, keep an eye out for our masterclass series. And until we see each other again, stay safe, trade smart, and trade successful.